We're in a heat wave right now. It's currently about 3:30 in the afternoon. It's 95 degrees. This is going to be the cool day of the next 4 days. Tomorrow's supposed to be 105, and we're going to end this with, they say, 118 degrees. That's unusual around here. I want to get started on this piece of wood from Dave from Calmwood Creations. He thinks it's River Birch. He asked if I was interested in it, and of course I always am. It's an unusual piece. It's got a little valley right through there. But he also warned me. It's got a big rotted spot. We're going to still see what we can get out of it. It's about 12 by 12 and maybe 6 inches tall here. But between the low spot on the top and the rotten spot, it's about 3 1/4. I'm going to go ahead and get a flat spot so I can get a worm screw in there and get it mounted. And that might be all that we do today, because like I said, it's 95 degrees here and just going to get hotter. So we get going on this and look for some cool mornings to work on it. You can see the rotted area a lot better. It probably goes to right about there. And I'm hoping that I'll have something on the bottom that I can get a tenon or a recess in. Because this natural divot was there, I didn't do that. But I had to drill through quite a bit of bark. And I only have about 2 1/8 inch between that flat spot that I put in there and where this is at. So I'm hoping that it works out. And like I said, it's really hot here in Garden Home, Oregon. I'm going to go ahead and turn a little on this because, well, when it spins it's like a fan. And I'm not going to bandsaw any of this off. I'm just going to turn it and see what we end up with. I'm going to start with my 5/8 bowl gouge, and I think we're doing around almost 400. I'd like to go more, but not right at the moment. Okay, I got my face shield on, and we're going to start making some tips. Long ways to go to get through that, but you can see the pretty wood here, and it does look like birch. I just stopped and resharpened the 5/8 swept back gouge. Almost 450. Okay, I cut a little bit on this, and I cut this away, but I looked up and I think a chip landed where it shouldn't on the camera, and it messed the focus up. You really didn't miss anything. I'm attempting to cut this rotten wood away. I've decided that I don't know if that worm screw's on there. Well, it feels pretty good, really. But I don't want to trust it because it's not real hard wood. I'm going to take a drill. I'm going to drill this out, find out how deep I can go. We may be just making a funnel without even knowing it. Let me get set up and we'll drill that. Well, that's pretty solid. That's not bad. Maybe we can get it. I'm estimating I have maybe an inch before I hit the bottom of that hole over there. So when I get this flipped around, remind me not to go too deep. Alright, I'm gonna turn a little bit more on it, and then I think I'm gonna call this good. $550 RPM. I'm going to stop for the night, and actually I can't work on it tomorrow at all. But wow, that's going to be pretty. That is really nice right there. I'll put some wood hardener in this. And like I say, I might be turning it away anyways, but maybe it'll keep from crumbling and I'll save some of it. Alright, show you what I'm going to put on. So I'm going to saturate it with this wood hardener. I've had pretty good luck with it. So I'm going to just unscrew the whole worm screw chuck and not take it off of that. And I'll probably have to wait till Sunday before I can work on this again. So I come out here this morning to check on the wood hardener, see if I needed more. Maybe I do here, but I did a little cleanup on this, and I'm actually down to fairly solid wood. I'm going to cut a tenon on here on this darker mark and try to leave as much material as I can right there because it's not real thick right now. So we're going to use a 1/2 inch bowl gouge, and we're going to go ahead and do that. Okay, I think I got a pretty decent tenon. I want to finish cleaning this up, maybe cut some more of that rotted wood away. But this is really going to be pretty. You can see the chatoyance in the grain here. So now I'm going to use a 1/2 inch bowl gouge to clean this up. I think right now the negative rake scraper might be just the perfect tool. Okay, I think we can go ahead and sand this now. Well, I knew what was going to happen. It's starting to get hot, so I want to try to get this sanded before that happens. Plus I have to quit in an hour or so anyways. So we're going to sand this part here with the 2-inch disc, starting with 80 grit. You go through 400, sanding in reverse. I have this big flat spot that I wanted to keep, and try to clean that up with a Sandiflex. Maybe sand it with 220 possibly. So I'm not sure how that softwood's going to sand compared to the rest, but let's go ahead and get going and do this, and I'll see you when it's time to flip it around. So that's what that's going to be, and then we're and that's going to work. It's cleaning up, so it should be fine. Okay, I'm going to start with a 5/8 swept back bowl gouge at around 600 RPM, and we'll just kind of sneak our way down. I don't know how secure the bark is. Well, I've decided to make a small design change. I don't like this real thin section and the really thick bark, and I think it'll be fine to take some of that off there. Okay, I'll just need to go over this and re-sand it. I'm glad I didn't put the finish on it, so I think it looks pretty good now. Yesterday I was able to get this recut and sanded before it got really hot, and it did reach 104. I put that block in there because I don't trust that tenon. It's barely got past the rotten wood, and I wasn't sure how much I would trust that. I decided to use that with the live center against it. We don't need it right now. What I want to do today, before it gets to the 114 is supposed to happen, and it's starting to get warm, I'll need to go over this with a negative rake scraper and then sand it. And speaking of getting really hot, the reason I put that little clip in there of us going down the Clackamas a number of years ago, my wife and I liked to float that river in the drift boat and fish. We talked about what could we do to stay cool. And we go, oh, we sure can't drift the Clackamas because you're out in the sun there and you just get baked. Well, I decided to look up some of the old footage that we had. And I thought, well, it'd be fun to put that in the beginning of this because this is River Birch. And that's a river, so that's why that's in there. So we're going to go ahead and go over this, and I might just sand it tomorrow because it is getting hot. What I'm going to do now is, I don't know if you can see it, but I have a big box fan on my drill press table. I'm going to go turn that on, then we'll use a negative rake scraper on this and probably see it tomorrow morning. Oh, that feels good. Whew. Okay, I think that did it. It's bouncing on this bark here, but it actually feels really good. And I have decided we'll do this first thing in the morning, finish sanding it and get some finish on it. So see you then. I thought I had a pretty good plan yesterday. Come out here this morning at 5:30 and finish sanding this. It was going pretty good until I needed a second cup of coffee. So now it's 7 o'clock and it's 75 degrees and it's getting hotter every second I stand here. And today they say it's going to be 118. It reached 114 yesterday and that's pretty hot. So what we're going to do here is take a 2-inch disc, start with 80 grit and sand that up to 400. And there was still a little bit of plant life hanging on there, so we'll go over the bark with the Sandiflex. I'm going to turn my fan on. It'll help cool it down a little bit and blow the dust away. So let me get a mask on and I'll turn the fan on and we'll get going. It's not going to be too bad. You can see the fan is blowing out. Alright, I'll go ahead and finish up sanding and I'll come back and we'll put some sanding sealer on. The sanding went really good, so now it's time to put the finish on. I'll use some sanding sealer and shellac, and the sanding sealer is a shellac based sanding sealer. I'm going to get it all over the bark here with a brush. Alright, that's not bad. Now we'll just wipe it on the rest of the area. Probably get 2 more coats of sealer on it, and then I'll put 2 coats of shellac, and I'll do the same to the back side, and I'll be back when that's all done. Okay, it's time to remove the tenon off of this, and I have a big crack right here, and this wood here was really bad, and it is for maybe an 1/8 inch in some areas, so we'll see how it goes, but we're going to give it a try. Got this little block in my chuck and some of that padded material. And I just hope it runs good. I don't think it moved around, and I got to be careful because I've got that big crack and it's less than 3/8 right there, and we don't want to make that crack any bigger. Well, you know, the tenon is not running too bad at all. It's probably good enough. I'm going to use this 1/2-inch bowl gouge and start taking it down a little bit. About 575 RPM. Okay, this wood is so soft, I'm just going to take it off and sand it. Be right back. Well, it's done, and I had to do most of the turning early in the morning because we are having record-breaking temperatures here. It's quite a heat wave. And I know I mention that a lot. So be sure to watch to the end because I put a picture in there to show you a much cooler day here in Oregon. And that picture was taken a couple years ago. And it's also going to show you something that you don't see very often. So if you know what that is, let me know. So it finished 9 3/4 in diameter, and it's about 3 3/4 tall. It's got a lot of nice features in it. I like that flat spot here, and it was much bigger, but I decided to return that outside after I flipped it because it was just too much bark right down in here. I think it looks perfect now. It's got a lot of other stuff in there. There's some spalting, and it's actually got what looks like some burling going on right there. And the bottom, that's where it's really soft wood, and it's got some spalting right here and a little bit over there. I like it a lot. The bark looks great here with that little window. So I finished it with 2 coats of Zinsser Seal Coat and 2 coats of shellac, and then I went over it a little bit with Acks Abrasive Paste and Polish. I think it left a really nice finish. Pretty happy with it. So be sure to watch to the end and let me know what that little surprise is that you're going to see. And a special thanks to Dave for sending me this piece of wood. Let me know if you liked the video. If you did, one way is to give it a thumbs up. If you leave a comment, that would also be great. I do read them all. And we all would appreciate it if you could share our videos around. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. And for all of you who are, I am very grateful. Thank you so much. I do all types of turnings, from segmented to very natural turnings from logs. Let me know your favorite. Thanks again, and until the next time, see you later.